All right, Investor Thrive Nation, how's it going? I got David Richter over here, the author of Profit First Real Estate Investing. So, guys, I'm interviewing him because he's in my mastermind that I just joined, and he is the man. He's got this awesome book. And for people that don't know what it is, I brought him on so he could explain it, tell us about his journey, what got him into real estate, and, kind of give us the deets. Go to investorthrive.com right now to check out some of our free training on how you can make money as a real estate investor, or schedule a time with me so we can chat about our mastermind mentorship and how we can help you learn how to wholesale nationwide and grow your business.
I read Rich Dad Poor Dad in college. That's what got me, unlocked my mindset. That was the thing that got me propelled into the real estate world. So that was about 10 years ago, 10 or 11 years ago now. Read that in college. And then I started buying real estate, which was awesome. Then joined a company that was doing like 5 deals a month. We scaled it up to about 30 deals a month of like fix and flip, wholesale, turnkey, BRRRR, lease options, rentals. Like we were doing everything and anything in the real estate world. I got some really unique perspective there because I got to sit in a lot of the different seats, in acquisitions, sales, dispositions, property management, project management.
And had you everywhere?
I was in all those different seats and, in the business, and we were in 5 different states. It was a big operation. One of the last seats I sat in, though, was the finance seat. Once I sat there, I had no financial training or background, which I know sounds funny since I wrote Profit First for Real Estate Investing, but we'll get to that. So I had no formal training on accounting or finance, but I did. I applied myself, and with the CPA would sit down with them and just try and consume and get everything that I needed to know on the numbers. Then once it clicked for me, I was like, oh my gosh, I can read the story of the business through the numbers here. I understand what the profit and loss means and what these numbers mean. And it was horrible when I looked at this business because it was we're doing 30 deals a month, which sounds super sexy. But at the end of the day, we were spending just as much as we were making. And it's so I've seen that at the high level like that, and I've seen investors who are doing 1 deal or 2 deals a month, and they're at that level as well. So through a series of events, I sold all my properties. I had built up a little portfolio, got to start working with another investor in the Richmond, Virginia area, moved across the country from where I was, and we started investing there and became a partner with him. And one of the first things we did was help him with his numbers, cleaned everything up, got in there and made sure that he could know exactly where he stood financially. This also uncovered hundreds of thousands of dollars that were hidden in his books of that he could capture back because he had no idea where all his money was, where his cash was. Turns out he had 70% equity in a lot of these deals, because he had poured a lot of his money into it. And he was like, yeah, I'll take some of that out. So he was able to capture about $400,000, put it in his bank account, and then start buying other real estate and doing the things that he wanted to do. That to me was a light bulb moment because he looked at me and said, now that I know exactly what I'm spending, exactly what I'm making, and I put cash in my pocket, this has been life-changing. To me, that was the light bulb moment to say, okay, I got to help people with this. If I can just let people know what the numbers can unlock for them, that is huge. I've seen it happen now, several times. And so I did. I called a mentor. Mentor told me, hey, have you read Profit First? You should think about reading that, as a framework. So I read it that evening, downloaded it, took 10 pages of notes, says, I love this, and then opened my business, Simple CFO, and poured all the money that I still had in my bank accounts and poured it into this business to be able to bring this message, and to help people implement Profit First. That's where the book was born from, because after a year of having my business and actually implementing the system and seeing it work with real investors and seeing their returns from implementing the Profit First system, that's when I went to Mike Michalowicz, the original author, and said, I want to write the real estate investing version because I've got the unique perspective of doing over 850 deals.
Bro, yeah, you've done it.
I've done it, so I want to write about it to be able to give people hey, you don't have to be the finance person to get this concept. You don't have to be the accounting person. You just have to be an entrepreneur who wants to keep more money in their actual pocket, not some tax evasion type stuff or any of that. It's how to just freaking manage and control every dollar in your business. And that's where Profit First for Real Estate Investing was born. And that's why I like the system. It's built for entrepreneurs. It's built for the real estate investor. It's built for people to be able to say, I know where every dollar is going in my business. because we're fed the BS line and the BS formula of like sales minus expenses equals profit, meaning I make a sale, I pay everyone else and their mother, and what I have left over, hopefully I get something left over. That's how we live as
Yeah.
entrepreneurs and investors. Like, we live broke, all the time. We just love that. We think we're risky, and we think it's like this badge of honor, but it's like you're living on the edge all the time, and one deal could put you out of business. And it's like, that's not where I want you. I don't want you thinking you're reinvesting every dollar when all that's code for is like, I'm just going to pile my expenses up and hopefully I don't get burned, and hopefully the deal, as long as the deals keep coming in, we'll be okay. It's like, just
Crazy.
take a breath, like slow down. Like, this is what we need to learn, the fundamentals of business, which I was just at an event and someone else put it a different way, and I love how they put it. Like, we think we're in the real estate game, right? Like, we get into the real estate investing and we're like, oh, we're awesome at wholesaling or fixing and flipping or buying the rentals or doing the deals. But you're not in the real estate game. You're in the game of money. Real estate is your vehicle. There's lots of vehicles. There's lots of different types of businesses out there, literally thousands of different just types of businesses. But you chose real estate as your vehicle to get money. And even if you have hangups like from the past of like, I don't think, like, no, it's not about the money, it's about the impact and the people I can do. Yes, it is all about all that, but that's your why. That's your why. That's not the purpose of the business. The purpose of the business is to produce a profit. That is the sole purpose of it. But a lot of people think they're in real estate, but they're not thinking I'm actually playing the game of money. And I need to know the rules of the game. I need to know what I can do, what I can't do, and how it flows through, my hands, and how I make sure that I keep it active inside of my business. And a lot of people don't think that way. So that's why we get mired in that mindset and start paying everyone else, because we're just like, oh, as long as I can keep buying deals. But it's not about the buying of deals. It's about making sure you have a profitable business that you're running. That's why I like profit first, the formula, and the brain space up here where it says, and it flips the formula on its head. It's sales minus profit equals expenses. That's the profit first formula. I make a sale, I take my profit first, and then what's left over is the expenses for the business. It's making sure to focus on the right things first.
What is the profit, by the way? Isn't it like 10%?
What is it depends. Like, you just ask the lawyer question, because it depends on how big you are. What I tell people is you need to start with wherever you are. If you're already in the game, the real estate, the real estate vehicle, then you need to see, where are you right now? Do you even have 10% of profit? Like, can you start at 1%? If you're just getting into it, then you can kind of manipulate those percentages up front and say, no, I'm going to always have 10% no matter what, and just put that stake in the ground, like to be healthy from the beginning. But if you're already in real estate, you might not be able to start as high as 10%.
Is that what you've seen is healthy? Just put the stake in the ground and don't move it? Just
I would say at least 10%, yes. Like, when you first start, though, because in the book, Profit First for Real Estate Investing, I give the different levels of businesses, and depending on which level you are, like how much revenue you're making, is the different percentages you should be at, like as targets. Not that you should be there today, but something that you should be aiming for. So like on the lowest level, like if you just started your business 0 to 250,000 in top line revenue and bringing in actual income, then you want to make sure that you're doing 5% to profit, 50% to your owner's pay, 15% to taxes, and then the rest of it, 30% to your operational expenses. So like that's the breakdown. But I want to get to the core meat of what Profit First is, because what I've told you a lot up to this point, besides the percentages, that mindset that we've been talking about, and the formula, and that, like what I was talking about there, is all up here. It's all in the brain space that you have to, it's between your ears, right? And we have to figure that out first, because what I'm going to teach you, this next step that will totally revolutionize your business, is the product of that mindset becoming a habit of who you are. So how do we create that habit? So what system do we put into place? And I just had Nathan on my podcast, the Profit First REI podcast, and he said, like, one of the things you had mentioned was at the beginning of your business, like having the one big bank account. Where everything goes in, right? And that's where I see that all the time in the real estate investing and just entrepreneurs in general. We work with all different types of businesses, and that's where a lot of people just have the one bank account where everything goes in to, everything comes out from, and it's like you're tossing a cash salad. You know, it's like just all the time, like throw some money over here for this, throw some money over there for that. Ooh, I got a new deal in. Good, I can spend it over here. And we're always just, the money's coming in and out. You don't know what money in that pot is for you or for the IRS or like to pay your people or to be able to on your projects. It's like, what the heck is going on?
Yep.
That's where we have to leverage what we're already doing. You as an entrepreneur look at your bank accounts way more than a financial system because we're not numbers people. Like I even mentioned, like when I first got into this, I was not an accountant or even like that side. I still don't love it. I still don't love like, ooh, I'm this big numbers person. Everyone always says, oh, David's a numbers person. What I love is seeing the light bulb go on and say, hey, this is where you can create the habit of profitability. So I already know you're not the numbers person. So you're going to be looking at your bank accounts and picking up your phone and like logging into your apps, you know, like the banking apps a whole lot more than you would some type of financial software. So we need to leverage that because if you have one account, you have no control. If you have multiple accounts, you can control what goes in those accounts and name those accounts to be intentional with every dollar, to say this is what this bank account is for. I'm going to be intentional about it. So that's where I suggest setting up bank accounts, kind of like the envelope system. Like Dave Ramsey talks about that. It's like the modernized envelope system for business. It's like business finance 101, just to get in place something for the entrepreneur, the owner, to be able to understand where the money's going. And so there's 3 accounts that I open up right away with every business that we work with that I call the golden trio of accounts, which I write about in the book. But I call it the golden trio because I like Harry Potter and Star Wars, these big epic saga stories, right? Where they always have 3 main heroes like Luke, Han, Leia, right? Lord of the Rings, but that one's a little different because these 2, Harry Potter and Star Wars, have 3 main heroes all the time. Harry, Ron, Hermione, Luke, Han, Leia, depending on which trilogy you're in, like they always have the 3 main characters always pushing the story forward for good, making sure good wins in the end. Well, your business and your life is your epic saga. Like you are living it out right now, and you need to be able to win in the end. You need to make sure that something is always pushing you forward. So these 3 bank accounts are for you, the owner, to make sure you're taken care of and that the business is healthy. Those 3 accounts are profit, number 1, owner's comp or owner's pay, number 2, then number 3, owner's tax account. So those are the 3 accounts to set up first to separate out from the other money. And what's the difference between owner's pay and profit? I always get asked that question, so I'm just going to head it off here. Profit is the icing on the cake. It is the reward for you for having a profitable business, for trading 40 hours working for someone else to 80 hours working for yourself. It's the late nights. It's the blood, sweat, tears. It's that making sure that you are getting a return on your business, on the investment of your business, of starting it. So there's 2 functions, though, of the profit account. One is to take up to 50% out of that account every single quarter and do whatever the heck you want with it, because that is your money. Now, profit is not just something a CPA tells you at the end of the year, some fictional number that they tell you on some profit and loss. It's actual dollars in your bank account and being able to take that out. The second function, though, of that profit account is to wipe out debt that is keeping you up at night. If you have debt, bad debt, consumer debt, whatever it might be, that's just like, oh my gosh, I got to get this off my plate, use up to 99% of that on a monthly basis, the profit account, to start just hammering that debt down. So that way you can get that out of your life, and then every dollar, once that's all done, goes back into the profit account. So that's the profit. Owner's comp or owner's pay is to make sure to get you out of your real estate rat race. Like if you're in the real estate rat race right now, just living deal to deal, circling, like running like a dog chasing its tail, then that account will help you know, like if I need $5,000 a month to live or $10,000 a month for my lifestyle, once I start filling up the owner's comp account on a monthly basis with that amount, I can either quit my W-2 job, or like I know that my business is fully supporting me and I don't have to worry. If I'm consistently bringing in the money that I need to live as the owner, that helps me know that I'm getting out of my rat race and helping me to get to, financial freedom, the why we even got into the business in the first place. So
Right.
that one I would take out on a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly basis from the owner's pay, because that is for you, the work you do in the business. You should be compensated for that, for the work you're doing as the best employee of the business. Owner's
Okay.
tax is real easy, though. That one's just to pay the taxes at the end of the year, making sure your business is paying the taxes instead of you dipping into your savings to bring to the table, and pay your business's taxes from your personal life. So that's like saving from each deal on that, from that account. But those are the three that I always recommend people set up first. And there's a whole bunch of other accounts. Then it starts looking like the Lord of the Rings. Then you've got the whole fellowship. You've got the all the other ones. If we're just going to stay on the geek track here,
Let's
it's
do
like
it. I
then it
love that.
becomes like that, and you can have other ones. And there's other ones that I recommend, but those are the three that will help the owner the most with that. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. I just opened up a bank account for Investor Thrive because I was using the one
Yeah.
for my business, my real estate business. So I just did it so I could go back in there and say, look, open me up Wells Fargo, open me up a savings account or checking account. Do you care? Does it matter if it's checking or savings?
No, I really don't care. Mike has more preferences than I do on that. I like checking accounts just to make it accessible.
Okay. So let's say I go in there today and I say, look, I just opened up the Investor Thrive bank account. I need a profit account where basically I need 3 savings or 3 checking accounts, correct?
Yeah, 3 checking accounts. Yep.
And then is there another account on top of that the money goes into?
So there is another one. So I don't want to overwhelm people too much, but I like
overwhelm us. Let's go, man.
I
Go
like
for it.
the income account. It's called the income account,
Income.
which I like to also call it the control account, because this is the account that you open up where all the money goes into, and it sits there until you transfer it to those other accounts. Meaning now you get to see all the money that's flowing into your business, and then you get to push it out and be very intentional with every dollar. So that way it's not just this hodgepodge mess of like money's going in, money's going out. That account, the only things that should come out of that are transfers that you direct. Nothing should be auto drafted from the income account.
So
It should all be going in there.
account. It's not to pay
Exactly.
employees or anything. So it looks like
Nothing.
we have the income, everything comes out, you allocate it profit first, owner's comp, and you got taxes, and then you have an expenses account where
That one, you already have the bad guy of your business. I mean, he was already there when you first started, the stuff that you were already setting up to have automatic payments go out. So those are the 5 fundamental accounts, because that 5th one is that OPEX account, the operational expenses of the business, because a lot of people already have that one in place, because that's where they're already
that's the one that everyone
Exactly.
Okay. So
Yep.
when I started the bank account Investor Thrive, that Investor Thrive one that's there is the one, the bad guy.
Exactly. It's the bad guy already.
So
Yep.
I need to go take action, because I told you I
Yep.
take action, brother.
Yep.
I don't mess
Yes,
around.
indeed.
I'm gonna go open up 4 accounts. You got the income that when you tell, like, if you have an incoming money gets paid into that, and then you
Yep.
allocate it to the bad boy account,
Yeah.
the profit, owner's comp, and owner's tax.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you pick up the book, you can get like the targets for where you should be depending on the size of your business. Meaning that doesn't mean you hit the targets when you first start the system. You just try and get as close as to those percentages as you move along in the business, as you start setting up this system, because everyone always asks, what percentages should I be at? Well, there's good targets in the book, but start with where you are. Like you if you're at 80% OPEX, you're not going to go from 80 to 40 without a huge structural change in your business.
That's
so it's
extremely useful. I mean,
Yeah.
if you have like benchmarks, then people will be like, hey, I'm doing decent. Because that's interesting.
Yeah.
When you said that you were that company was doing 30 deals a month, but they sucked. Like they weren't doing very well. That blows your mind, right? Because you would look on social media, all these influencers, and if you heard 30, you'd be like, oh my gosh, they're amazing.
Yeah.
But who cares if you ain't making any money?
If you're not making money, exactly. And that's why we have this business. That's why this message. That's why I feel like it's the mission to get this out there, because especially in today's world where we don't know what real estate, with interest rates just keeping climbing and climbing and climbing, it's like, where is real estate headed? And if you have this internally, and you know that for every dollar I bring in, I'm keeping at least 30% of it across these 3 accounts, I'm keeping that. if you keep that habit up, like you're going to have the reserves, you're going to be able to like weather the storms that other people won't be able to weather. You'll have confidence when other people are cowering in fear. It's like you be able to spring on those opportunities versus saying like, "Oh shoot, that deal just didn't close because the buyer backed out because they're not buying anymore, because of the interest rates or whatever." So it's like having this type of system helps you to make sure you're safe for today, but you're also building profitably for the future as well too.
So I got a question. So
Yeah.
is this an automatic thing that can be done through Wells Fargo or any bank account? Because let's say I sell, for example, 500 calculators. Well, I guess it wouldn't matter, right? Because I get paid through in lump sums.
Yeah.
But like that, some people might, depending on their type of business, might have a lot of transactions. Well, they have to transfer all the time. Is that just how you have to do it? You got to transfer. And
So find the rhythm that works for you. In real estate, we have clients that transfer literally once a quarter because they only sell like one property a quarter. We
got
have
it.
some people that sell a property a day, so they're doing transfers every week or every other day.
Okay.
It's like they're taking money in, okay, how much what are our percentages? Let's separate those out and then do it like that. But get into the rhythm that works for you. I would not do this like every single day. That would be nuts. So like if you're
Okay.
doing this every single day, you're going to be like, "Oh my gosh, this is a headache, a nightmare." No, let's run it like a business. Like, when are the times that we're going to transfer this? What makes sense for our business to be able to transfer the amount that comes into the income account on a regular basis, and that won't tank our business? Like for me, when I first started my business, it was once a month. Now it's once a week. Like we've grown exponentially, and now it's like we need to make sure that on a weekly basis our buckets are getting filled up, so that way we know where we stand. And that's what it is with some of the real estate investors we work with. Depends on how often that they're closing deals or not.
Does it kind of mess up when you do QuickBooks and you have all these different bank accounts? Does it make it difficult to manage all that and within like QuickBooks or bookkeeping software?
Not at all. Like I get that question a lot, and usually it's from the bookkeepers that are like having heart attacks of like, "What? 5 or 6 more accounts? What the heck?" And for us, it's just literally it's booked as a transfer from income to these other accounts. Like it's just booked as one time as a transfer, which is a super easy transaction. And QuickBooks is even smart enough to know, like if you have different bank accounts, set up, but they're all at the same bank, or what they even say, was this a transfer? Yes, boom. And then it's done, and it's logged in there. And then when the transactions happen, like your automatic payments come out, those will still happen like normal, like from the OPEX account, and still be like that. The only things that are added are those transfers to the accounts. And it's like what, an extra 5 seconds of work whenever you do the transfers.
I love it, man. This is great. And like I kind of told you, I was honest. I do this in my personal life, but not in my business yet.
There you go.
And I was like, hey, it all
Now's a
just
great time to
goes
start.
in and comes out. I'm about to start it.
The good
But
stuff.
it's kind of frustrating. It is a little frustrating because in order to open up bank accounts at Wells Fargo, I own it with my business partner, so we both have to be there physically for them to open up a bank
Oh,
account.
yuck.
That's
There's a lot of
frustrating.
online banks that you can use as well too. Like North One is one of the official partners of Profit First, just to look into. Now they're a newer bank, so like their technology isn't as crazy awesome as some of these other ones, like a Wells Fargo or a Chase, but they do have the online banking, but they're completely 100% online, where they've got the functionality when you put money into the income account, it actually automatically separates if you have a preset percentage for each of the accounts. So
Oh, I
like
love
you
that.
do it in then, and then it'll just split it out into the other, what they call envelopes inside of there. But there's options like that. That's not the only one. There's a couple others that
I don't think Wells
people use
Fargo
as
does
well
that.
too.
I don't think Wells Fargo
I don't
does
think so.
percentages.
Some of these big banks don't have that functionality. It's like it's very easy. They'll let you set up the accounts. Like even some of these bigger banks let you do it right online. Wells Fargo probably not, but where you can actually set it up and then you can see it right there online. But they don't have the automatic functions like some of these strictly online banks do.
Would North One, for example, do they do business checking?
They only do business accounts.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're a strictly small business entrepreneur type bank.
Cool. So I could
Yeah.
literally just start using them if I wanted.
If you wanted to, yes, you could literally open an account probably in 15 minutes on their website.
So tell me about so you have the book. What else? Do you provide a service as
Yeah,
well?
we
For people that are
provide a
watching?
service as well.
What is
The
that service?
the book was just to get the information and the message out there. The service is to help people actually implement and to help them be held accountable to getting more profit in their pocket. So that's what we do at Simple CFO. It's what we call a fractional CFO business, meaning when a lot of people think CFO, they think ivory tower. Like that is someone way on, that I'm never going to be able to touch as an entrepreneur because like that's someone we pay $250,000, $300,000 a year. I wanted to bring that type of person and give them to the investor. Like we're working with some investors that are literally doing 4 deals a year, and we're doing some that are doing 400 deals a year.
Wow.
But the fractional CFO is a fraction of the cost and a fraction of the time, meaning you're not going to meet with this person on a daily basis. It's not going to be 40 hours a week because if you did, you'd be paying $300,000 a year. But it's also, it's the leadership for a business that's a smaller size because you're too small usually for a full-time CFO, but on the flip side, you're too large at any point not to have someone looking at the numbers and helping you make the best decisions strategically from the financial position. So what we do is put a financial leader on the team. I know CFO sounds scary, but what we're really doing is just putting someone who knows what the heck they're talking about. Remember, like if you're playing the game of money, like that I was talking about, we put the players that know the game of money on your team to be able to say, here's the rules, here's what we can do, here's some of the cool stuff you could do with it to be able to make more money and keep it in your pocket. Like that's who we put on the team. And like where the CPA and the bookkeepers are more like rear view mirrors, the CFO is more like the GPS. Where are we headed? Like, let's get to that destination. This is the route we're going to take from the info that we're getting from our rear view mirror and then make sure that we're headed in the right direction. So that's what we do and what we provide at simplecfosolutions.com.
Dang, bro. Look, I just had you on here to chat, but I mean, I'm about to check out what you got.
There you go. We're
Awesome.
working with a lot of people in the mastermind just because a lot of people are great at making the money. That's why I told you the 30 deals a month, like you said, sounds sexy.
It does.
It is not sexy though if you don't know the numbers, if you're not able to either pay yourself or pay the people on the team. Right. It's like a whole lot of work for what you could make more at McDonald's. It's like, what the heck? Like, why do I want to kill myself for beans? It's like that's why I created this thing.
Well, that's crazy, man. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people in this industry that make a ton, but they don't keep a ton, right? Because their expenses are so high. So you basically, you have a service that helps someone is dedicated to go to that team, financial officer, right? CFO.
Yep.
And they say, hey, you guys suck at this. You're spending a lot of money on this, and it's something like that, right? Like
something like that. We don't say that they suck. Usually they've had horrible experiences in the past with CPAs or bookkeepers or people that have talked down to them or over them. And I freaking hate that. That's why I created the business too, with a culture of saying, you haven't had a leader before. Let's talk about this. And like, where are you right now? And like guiding you together instead of saying you suck at this. It's more like, let's look at what you have. Let's plan for the future of what could be better.
Look, guys, live right here on Investor Guide Live. I got to set up a time because this is awesome. This is sweet.
Awesome.
Like, because the thing is, like, I think if everyone's going to be pretty open and honest, and that's what I try to do on my podcast and just in life, is people have a big account, money goes in, they don't know what really happens other than money's coming out from credit cards, expenses, repairs on properties, and that's just how they run the business. And I'll be honest, that's kind of like us right now. We have 4 flips. We got quite a bit of money in our account, but it's like, well, at what point is all those repairs that are going to put us in a bad spot? Because you obviously you budget, but anything can happen on a flip. Things properties couldn't sell for what they want, so it would be nice to have. I mean, we're not idiots with finance, but like it would be nice to have someone like you're saying that would be like, hey guys.
Exactly.
That would be helpful. I think your product and what you're pushing, the book is legit. What you told me right now, I mean, for any of the listeners, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to open up some accounts. So why wouldn't everybody here reach out to my boy, my man, David?
No, and I appreciate that. That's why we started it, because like you're not an idiot when it comes to money and finances. Like a lot of entrepreneurs aren't stupid because they're building the business. It's just usually they don't know if an avalanche is coming and going to take them out, or they don't know if there's a better way, like to manage it, to know, like, or to put more in their pocket. Like they're leaving money on the table literally and sending money out the door that they didn't need to send that could have gone straight to them. So it's like, stop doing that. Like stop leaving profit on the table that you're already making, and get someone in there that knows what the heck they're doing, so that way they can guide you, so you can keep doing the deals and keeping the projects moving and closing them.
Yeah, I wanted to say one last thing is when
Yeah.
you're talking about allocating money to the owner's tax account, in my mind, I was like, why would I do that? I've already paid for the taxes for my personal account. But then you're like, oh, have the business do it. And I'm like, wow, I didn't think of that.
Exactly. Right?
I didn't think
Because
of the business paying for the taxes. I just did it.
exactly. That's where it's going to come from. Like you're going to get dinged on your taxes because the business has been making money. So if the business is making money, they should be the one to, your business should be the one paying the taxes for you, the owner, to make sure you're not stressed out of like, oh, I got to pay this from my personal account.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've been paying it. I'm like, I just thought that's how it was because it trickled down to me, right? So I was like, oh, I'll pay it. But yeah, dude, this has been really awesome, and I think anyone that will watch or is watching will take a lot of value out of this. So how do we get a hold of you if we want to set up a time to learn about either your book or your CFO service?
So the one-stop shop is simplecfo.com or simplecfosolutions.com. They both go to the same site, simplecfo.com, and there you, right in the top right-hand corner, says schedule a call with us, so that way we could see if we're the right fit or not. Like, are we the right fit with what we do and what we provide? There's also links at the top for the book, our podcast, like everything. That's our one-stop shop. If you go there, you can find links to the book, our podcast, other things like that as well too. So it's simple.
Say it again.
Simplecfo.com.
I'm about to put it on the scroller right here.
Awesome. We're high tech here. This is good
Simple
stuff. There it is.
Simplecfo.com.
Simplecfo.com, which it took me like 2 years to get that URL, because someone else had it, but we got it, and that's why I wanted to make it as simple as possible.
You
go
have to
there,
haggle with them for it, or
one-stop shop. No, it was actually once we found out who it was, the guy was really cool. So, but this is the one-stop shop if you want to either work with us or get the book or just more info from the podcast.
We got Robert Ware saying, "Good stuff, Nate, for bringing that to attention, and thanks, David."
Well, thank you for listening. Go out and do something with it. Like Robert, go open an account. Like, I love that you got value from it, but like the best value you can give me is going out and starting those bank accounts, even in your personal life, even if you're not in real estate yet and you're thinking about it or you're in the W-2. This is a habit to create as a human being, so that way if you lost everything, you could build it back better and bigger than before. So go out and do it, even in your personal life.
Yeah, man. And like I told you, in my personal life, I have this all. I have everything split up, from taxes to health insurance to just like whatever. Right, because your life is it's kind of like a business, but there's different expenses within that too. So travel, my wife loves to travel, so we say, okay, out of everything we make, this % goes to travel.
Yep, that's awesome. That's exactly the same thing in the business.
Exactly same thing, and I love it. I apply it in my personal life, so it's pretty simple, man. All I got to do is go open up some bank accounts, and again, I do not like Wells Fargo for the fact that we both have to go there,
right,
and open it up. So maybe I'll check out North One, and I don't know if there'd be issues if I start using them instead of Wells Fargo. Is there like any repercussions to doing that?
Not if you're opening business accounts. No, there's no repercussions for that. As long as they're in the name of your business and everything, you can have as many business bank accounts as you want. You're not going to get dinged for that. There's also, actually, I just thought, if you go to simplecfo.com/gift, there's if you put in your email, it sends back to you all the like different bank account or banks that we recommend. There's like a Profit First bank list, like that are usually easier to work with. A lot of local banks in a lot of different states that we put on there. So maybe if you have a bank,
do you have one that you recommend most, just off the top of your head?
Not really, no, because they're all over the place, and I've seen great banks, and I've seen people, Wells Fargo, say this is awesome. I've also had people that use Wells Fargo as clients with us and say they suck, so it's like, it depends on the banker you're working with too. Like a lot of those small banks just want to like bend over backwards for you anyway. They're like, 10 bank accounts, sure, like let's do it, so it's like, I've had no problem with those.
Yeah, I think I don't like about, not that we don't have the money, but the Wells Fargo, they want you to have a balance of like 500 to 1,000.
Yeah, I hate that.
And I'm like, why?
Right?
You get that?
It's like, what is going on? But
And I have Capital One for my personal banking, which you don't
yeah,
have to have anything, and it's really easy to use, but they don't do business, I don't think. At
right.
least the last
Yeah,
time
it
I talked
depends
to them.
on
Yeah.
what they do
So
and
anyway,
offer. Cool.
brother, thanks for your time, man. This has
Yeah,
been
for sure.
awesome. And I'm sure we'll get to connect way more often throughout the mastermind. And
Yes, indeed.
yeah, for anybody, like I said, that's watching this or will watch this, we'll put his info in the description of the YouTube channel and reach out to him. Simple CFO. It's been at the bottom of the screen. You know what to do. Just go for it.
There you go. Well, thank you, Nathan.
All right. Have a good one, man.